Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of From the Editor's Desk. If this is your first time catching me live, my name is Ronnie Harden. By trade, I'm an editor, I'm a content writer, I'm a writing coach. I love to help people share their stories. And today, we have quite an interesting topic, one that I think might spark a little bit of intrigue, maybe. It might be a little controversial, it might bring up some things that we've probably wanted to talk about but haven't been able to talk about. So, I hope you'll kick back for a few minutes and join me. Grab your mug or some juice or tea or whatever it is that you're enjoying and pull up a chair, curl up on the couch, or maybe you're still in your pajamas, just sort of getting the day started. Wherever you are, thanks for joining me. I've got my commemorative mug for today because we are going to be talking about banned books. And so this is my banned books coffee mug. It features titles of books, Animal Farm. Do you know Les Miserables was even banned at one point? So I'm enjoying my mug out of my banned books coffee cup. My extended collection of coffee mugs that I love to share with you each week. I'm going to come on here live and talk about great books and great stories, and sometimes those that cause a little kerfluffle or get under people's skin or ruffle some feathers, if you will, enough to where they are put on the banned books list. And if you didn't think that that was a real thing, it is, because starting tomorrow and ending the month of September is Banned Books Week. Banned Books Week, Renee, is that a thing? Well, yes, it's a thing. In fact, the American Library Association has brought Banned Book Week to the forefront. You have a banned book mug. It shows the name while it's hot, Mary. That's awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Savannah. Hi, my sweet girl. How are you doing? So if you are coming to me live today, if you are watching live, please post in the comments. If you are watching this on my personal Facebook profile, I'm not able to see the comments, but if you're watching this on my page or on YouTube, you're able to throw a comment and let me know that you are watching live. I'd love to know all the folks and say hello to those who are joining me live this morning. So, how has your week been? A lot in the news, a lot of things that I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about some great books that came out this week. And here are some great books. If you follow my page, you know that on Tuesdays I do new book release news. I let you know about some new books that have come out, new books that are being published and dropped, some books that we are looking forward to being released. There's a lot of those coming up in the fall season because in the publishing industry, fall is one of the busiest times of year because everyone is prepping for Christmas and we're even looking at the new year with things like finances and cooking and health goals and self-improvement. So if you have a story that you're wanting to share, doesn't mean you can't publish any other time of the year, but fall is a great time. Fall is busy. A lot of people are putting out books. Books are coming out every Tuesday all around the year. And there are certain periods where the publishing industry gets a little busier. So some great books that came out this week, and this week is like a children's book favorite, if you will. But Dolly Parton's Little Golden Book, right? It's a little golden book teaching all about who Dolly is. If I can get the little book open. My little golden book. I love golden books. Great for children because they introduce them to some of the favorite people that we know. So and look at the illustrations. Aren't they beautiful? Right? So this tells a little bit of Dolly's story, where she came from, the story of her coat of many colors, which we're all very familiar with, and shares a little bit about how she wanted to be on the Grand Ole Opry. She wanted to sing and bring her music to the world. Not only has she done that, but she also has a wonderful literacy program for children where she provides books for children for the first few years of their life and help them create a little library of their own. So Dolly's book came out in the Golden Book series. Another great book that came out this week that I was very excited to get. Beautiful, beautiful cover. It's called Change Sings by our American poet laureate, Amanda Gorman. You probably saw her at the presidential inauguration share her poem. Well, she's written a book called Change Sings, a children's anthem. And again, the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. Yep, there's Milo. I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't hear change coming, and so I sing along. I love this, right? Look at the beautiful illustrations. Talking about change, right? It says, I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers, right? So this is a great little book. If you want to help your child understand about what's going on around us, what's going on in society. Yes, Milo, I hear you. You can come up here. Come on. Yeah, Milo wants to get on the action of the new books that are coming out, right? So yes, this one came out. It's a great one. Another one, which is right over here in my featured book pile that I love to have. That actually over there is my to be read bucket. Yes, to be read bucket. Notice how many books to be read bucket? A lot of them. Do you have a to be read shelf, perhaps, digitally and in print? Well, that's mine. So, but this is also a great little book that came out. It's called Giddy and Kvetch. I talked about this a little bit last week. I was so excited because this is from Caroline Cusick Pritchard. She is a family friend from right here in Dallas, but she lives now in San Francisco. And she wrote a wonderful little book that even includes a glossary of Yiddish terms so you understand what giddy and kvetch means, right? And so kvetch is the little bird and giddy is the girl, right? Look at these beautiful illustrations, right? So in children's literature, illustrations really are crucial to telling the story because for children, a lot of times they understand the concepts of story in picture form. So, and I love this. There's a little glossary of Yiddish words at the back where you understand what they mean, right? So all of these are great little books that came out this week that are important. And if you wanted to get a copy, you can always follow my page on Facebook and get all of the Tuesday new book releases so that if there's some that you would like to get as a gift for someone, you can do that. There's so many great books coming out, being released, being shared with the world. Well, today, guys, Savannah, you love that idea. You have a lot of things to be read. I do too, honey. And, you know, that's the thing is when we have so many great books out there to read, we have to collect them sort of and put them in a series. And that's why I have a book club. So if you're interested in wanting to follow along with me as I get to some of these books that I read, and because as an editor, I come across some great books. I get new release information from publishers on some books that are coming up. So we are reading in our book club, Anxious People. This is a great book. If you love a story with lots of engaging characters, each with a backstory of their own, this is a great story. And it involves a bank robber taking people hostage. And yet this bank robber sort of fumbled their way into this building, took people hostage, and of all people to take hostage, this is a collection of the worst hostages possible. The book is somewhat funny, somewhat serious, really, truly is a great read in character development. So if you would like to join the book club, you can still pick up a copy of this. We're going to be having our next live discussion on Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night. And I'm also going to be sharing our new book for the month of October, which is going to be the book Utopia by Sir Thomas More. So, great books. I think they're great books, but what if someone else doesn't think they're great books? What if someone else thinks that they are bad books, and so much so that they complain about that and say, well, I don't want this book to be read by other people? Did you know that's a thing? Well, that's why I'm talking about Banned Books Week. Um, our book club is fun, and you're excited for Utopia? I am too, Savannah. I've taught this as part of British literature, but I'm adapting this as a study, sort of, if you will, and read along for my book club because I'm preparing a course, which I will be putting live on my website soon, where you wanted to read this book, or maybe you have a student, maybe you are a student and you are reading this book and you want to just have something supplemental and fun to help you understand the book a little more, understand the time period in which it was written, because this book came out in 1516, in the year of our Lord, 1516, written by Thomas More, who was the man that was holding England together and having to take care of ruling it and administering all of the, anything that people needed as far as leadership in the country, while King Henry VIII was out bouncing around, dating women, chasing skirts, getting married, getting divorced, executing his wives, all of that going on. Well, there was a country to run. And Thomas More had no idea. In fact, this book wasn't even published until after his death, some 60 years after his death, because at the time there was so much repression of thought, especially if it went against the king, that the king could have executed him for some of the ideas that were published in this book. So Thomas More never realized that the story he wrote, this little bitty story, it's not very big. You notice other books are like much bigger. Utopia is a really easy read. It's like 80 pages. This book is, 85 pages. You could sit down and read this in a day, easily, in an afternoon. But the content in it is so, you'll have to find out for yourself when you join us in the book club. But so much so, this book is so important that it spawned an entire literary genre that we call utopian or dystopian literature. He had no idea that this book would be the inspiration for stories like The Hunger Games, Divergent, Children of Men, movies and TV shows and stories that were created all from the concepts inside this book. So we're going to read them. We're going to find out a little bit more about them and talk about, well, how could these things happen in a society? And what if they happened in our society? Could that possibly be the case? And if so, are they good ideas or are they not good ideas, right? All ideas sparked by this one book. So this is our book that we're going to be reading for the month of October. So it's really light, but the discussion times are going to be interesting. So you want to join us for that. And I'll be sharing information on how you can sign up for the book club at the end of this broadcast. But I wanted to share a little bit with you today about this whole idea behind banning books. Is that really a thing? Well, yes, it's really a thing. Books that are taken off bookshelves because enough people complain about them to say, I don't want that book made available to people to read. So what would you think about that? Would you want someone telling you what you can and cannot read? I mean, now that we have the internet, there's so much information out there. We have thousands and thousands of opinions and viewpoints and information that's shared out there, along with information that is credible and important for people to know and have access to. And yet, is everything on the internet beneficial for people? Because now that we have the internet, anybody can put anything out there, and there's no way to police it because the internet as a whole was actually created by the United States government. The platform, the roads, digital roads, if you will, were created, and those are global. So the laws and rules that we have in our country may not necessarily apply in another country, and vice versa, right? Things that are happening in China, for example, China just declared cryptocurrency as illegal and have locked down any kind of cryptocurrency transactions in that country, right? Because that's what communism does. Communism, and in their country, they have the ability to control what people see and think and have access to. One year, while my daughter was in high school, there was a foreign exchange student that came from China and was studying at her school. And when she came to the United States, she was amazed that she could go on Google and type in something. If you type in Jesus Christ in Google in China, nothing comes up because the government installs your modem. You never know your modem password. You never know. They control what comes in and out of your house on the internet. They also control what people have access to in the internet. And they believe they are doing this to protect their citizens. Fact or opinion? That's really interesting. Fact and opinion, because today we're getting a lot of things muddled because people have different ideas of what is a fact and what is an opinion. So let's talk about that for a minute. Fact versus opinion. So a fact is a truth that can be proven by things such as measurement, figures, research, surveys, right? There's objective evidence that will prove a fact. But an opinion, well, those are expressions of feelings that can't be proven because they are a matter of personal belief or judgment. They're not true for everyone, and they differ from person to person. So, for example, let's talk about a few statements, if you will, oblige me, and you tell me if these are fact or opinion, okay? So in the comments, you can tell me if they're fact or opinion. So, the sun is hot. Fact or opinion? And I'll give you a few moments. But fact or opinion, okay? Is that a fact or opinion? The sun is hot. And you can let me know in the comments below. I'm going to add some things here. I'm going to put up. All right. We're going to talk about fact or opinion, right? Fact or opinion. The sun is hot. Is it a fact or an opinion? Okay. Well, of course, it's a fact. We know the sun is hot because scientists have studied it and they have proven through lots of research, lots of experiments, right, that the sun is indeed hot. It is the center of our solar system. It's what our planets revolve around. We get heat and light and warmth from the sun. Before, people didn't know much about the sun, but over time, people who are scientists, people who they found this interesting, they studied it, they did a lot of tests and studies, and they've proven that the sun is indeed hot. We know that to be true. It is a fact, right? What about this statement? Coffee is delicious. Now, to me, I know that to be a fact. But coffee is delicious, right? Coffee is delicious. Fact or opinion? That can be a little weird, but actually, coffee is delicious is an opinion because I love coffee. I drink coffee. I enjoy coffee. But some people don't drink coffee. Some people don't like coffee at all. So that's an opinion. We can't say coffee is delicious. to someone who doesn't drink coffee because to them, they don't find it delicious. That's based on their personal belief or their personal judgment, right? So I can't go up to someone and say, coffee is delicious. And you need to like coffee, and you need to drink coffee. Well, no, because my personal opinion is that I enjoy coffee and I enjoy it in the morning. Now, here's another one. Let's try this. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. Is that fact or is that opinion? Well, we know that it's a fact because scientists, again, have studied the planets over many, many, many years. And we know that it's second in size to Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. So we know that to be a fact, right? If we were to say something like, that book is really bad, right? Some people, again, like I said before, some people may read this book, right? Opinion, a good one, yeah, about coffee, yes. So some people may read this book and they may really enjoy it. Others might say, this book is really bad. Did not enjoy it. That is their personal opinion. And in fact, we can read a lot of these on reviews that are left by people, right? When you're wanting to buy something, say a book on Amazon, and you look at the reviews and you see, oh, well, okay, so about 75 to 80% of the people really liked this, and about, 20% of them, not so much. But those are all opinions shared. And by reading those opinions, we can decide for ourselves whether or not we want to spend the money purchasing a book, right? Well, that's the difference between fact and opinion. Now we get to some really crucial territory with books where we talk about, well, is that book suitable for people to read at all, or should we ban it? Should we not allow this book to be made available to others to read, right? So say if I did not enjoy this book and I said that I wanted this to be banned, I don't want anyone to read this. Well, is that an opinion or a fact, right? Why are books banned? And this even gets more dangerous when we're dealing with something like COVID is a highly transmissible virus. Fact or opinion? Well, we know it to be true because over 600,000 people have died because of this virus. Now, there are different opinions about whether or not you want to wear a mask, whether or not you want to get the vaccine, right? But in a matter of public health, how do we handle that, right? As a cancer patient, I had to wear masks when I was doing chemotherapy because it helped my body not get other viruses or illnesses because I was immunocompromised. I was immunocompromised. My body was going through some really serious treatment that weakened my immune system. So I was susceptible to everything that was out there. And so I wore a mask. This was before COVID even happened. My husband and I had a trip planned to London. My doctor advised me that probably need to wear a mask while traveling and being in places where there were a lot of people because I was going through chemotherapy. I was traveling to a foreign country and I wanted to be careful and make sure that I didn't catch anything that would make me really sick. I know that wearing a mask is helpful to cancer patients. I know this for a fact because I've been in cancer infusion centers. I've been in cancer treatment, and I know the efficacy of wearing a mask. In fact, most of us, when we went in for our weekly infusions, we had to wear masks because we could even pass something to each other while getting our infusions. But a lot of people, it's their opinion that masks don't work. And they have a right to that opinion in our country. And so these issues come up, and how do we handle them? Are they fact or are they opinion? And that's so important when it comes to information, right? Because what we let into our eyes, what we take into our minds, and also what we allow to be um, sort of ruminated over in our hearts, we have to be careful, right? Because again, the internet is a wide open space. Should we let anybody put anything on the internet? A lot of people say, well, we need to have freedom. People should have the freedom to put whatever they want out there. Okay, well, that's why there's a lot of pornography on the internet. Is pornography a bad thing? Is that a fact or an opinion? Should we allow it to remain online? That's an opinion. And so when we come to things like dealing with censorship and banning books, those things actually happen. So I'm going to show you some statistics, some facts that have been put together by the American Library Association, because they are the ones that deal with the most challenges to certain books. So who initiates these challenges? Well, so here's censorship by the numbers put together by the American Library Association. So 50% of most challenges to books or things that are published that they don't want available to read, 50% of the challenges come from parents. Parents, because they don't want their children exposed to bad things. So do we censor and ban those books, or do we teach our children to make healthy choices about what they read, what they see, even what they eat, right? I love fried okra, but I don't like okra any other way except fried, because I think it's gross and slimy and I don't understand why people eat it. And in any other way but fried. I love fried okra. I don't like okra any other way. Now, that's an opinion, but if I were to push and say okra should not be cooked any way except fried, nobody should have okra in any other form except in fried, well, that's me pushing my opinion on someone else, right? 20% of people are patrons of libraries. There are people who go to the library, they find a book, they see a book, they decide, I don't know that I want to see this book on the shelf. So they will challenge it. They will say, I don't think this book should be available to people. 11% of it comes from either school boards or school administrations. 9% is political and religious groups. A lot of times we think that, oh, it's the government, it's the government. No, it's actually 50% of challenges of most books that are banned come from parents. 5% of them come from library and teachers, and 4% are from elected officials or students who read them. Interesting, isn't it? Who initiates these challenges for banned books? Some books that are banned are probably ones you've read, or maybe you've seen the movie, like The Color Purple. Have you seen that movie? Award-winning movie, phenomenal movie that Steven Spielberg produced, starring Oprah Winfrey and who else? Oh God, who is the guy who is in all of the not Die Hard movies? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Danny Glover. There we go. Danny Glover. Danny Glover, Oprah Winfrey. Great movie. I enjoyed it tremendously, and I've told many people watch this movie. And yet, some people don't like it. Some people didn't like the story. They thought it was offensive and didn't want that shared. So, The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby. That's another book that's been on the banned book list for years. To Kill a Mockingbird is another one. Can you believe that? To Kill a Mockingbird, the one about civil rights and Harper Lee. How could that book possibly be on the banned book list? And also, ironically, the book 1984 by George Orwell, the book about a dystopian society that controls and bans information, is on the banned book list. I find that really interesting, right? And yet it happens. It definitely happens. Well, here's some more interesting information, right? So the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom has tracked 156 challenges in 2020. Of the 473 books that were challenged last year, because even during a pandemic, books are being banned, here was the breakdown. 73% of the challenges were books and graphic novels. 14% of them were programs or meeting rooms. 3% was social media. 3% was social media. 2% were displays or photos. 1% films, and 7% was other. But 73% of all challenges brought up last year were books. Books that people have written, sharing their stories, because in a book form, you can share your story, you can share your opinion, you can put it out there to an audience and see who in the audience really sort of, vibes with what you're trying to say or shares your opinion. That's the beauty of it, right? We have books that we can read and we can decide whether we like them or not, right? But 73% of all challenges brought last year were books or graphic novels. That's kind of scary, kind of creepy, kind of weird, right? How is that possible? And yet it happens in our nation, in a nation where we are supposed to be free and allow information to happen. So, where do the challenges take place? 43% of them happen in our public libraries, places where they are a depository of books and ideas and information, and 43% of those challenges take place in our public libraries. 38% of them come from our schools, 15% of them come from school libraries, 2% come from academia, that's higher learning, colleges, universities, and 2% come from other areas. So, well, if that's happening, I already showed that slide. If that's happening in our world, if that's taking place, why is it taking place? Why are these people bringing this information? Well, this is the breakdown of how these challenges happen. 58 challenges that are listed in the field report for 2020. Most of them, if you notice at the bottom, 82 to 97% of challenges remain unreported. There are challenges brought to libraries or places, and yet they're never publicly reported. 156 challenges were tracked by the American Library Association in 2020. There may have been as many as 5,200 challenges every year brought forward of people saying they don't like this book, they don't want this book, they don't want this information out there. Of reported challenges, this includes non-books, databases, displays, disinvited speakers, programs, and social media. We've seen this play out on social media with people getting banned from Twitter or Facebook for sharing their information. Now, a lot of people think that these companies should not have the right to ban information from their sites. Is that true? Should that be allowed? Because people don't understand that these entities are businesses. They are companies. So to say that a company cannot produce its product and share it out there, or you try to tell that company what they can and cannot do with their product, that's one thing. Your participation in that product, your ability to read this book, if you don't want to read Utopia, I'm not making you read Utopia. I'm encouraging you to read Utopia. I'm having a book club and I'm inviting you to read it with me. But to say that this book does not deserve to be out there, that's preposterous. But for social media, let me just tell you something. There's a lot of people that I unfollow, that I don't listen to, because I have the ability to choose who I listen to and what kind of information I take in. The fact that it's out there, it's out there. And if we're truly going to be a nation of freedom, we're truly going to be a nation where we allow thoughts and ideas to present themselves, well, that's important. We need to do that because in our country, you're supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to be able to have those kinds of things and enjoy those kinds of things. And so when we don't allow that thought to happen, that can be a problem. And a lot of people claim First Amendment rights. They say, well, I have my First Amendment rights. I should be able to say what I want and do what I want. You know, you don't have the right to ban this person on. You don't have the right to pull down their Facebook or their page. Well, honestly, they do. And you know why? Because a lot of people claim their First Amendment rights. Well, let's look at those rights, shall we? Because I think we get this confused because we don't read it and understand what the words are. We form our own opinion about it, and then we try to share that opinion as fact. Mary, too many choose to be offended by too many things. That's right. People do. They get offended by things. And rather than say, you know what? I don't choose to do that. I don't want to do that. You know, for a while, I didn't really do or enjoy sports. Now, for me to say that sports are stupid and should not, people shouldn't spend their time on them. Well, you know what? I, through my sweet husband, who's so patient with me, has helped me learn about and watch certain sports so that I could learn about them. And now I'm actually getting pretty good at watching them and getting involved in the game. I didn't know about it before, but after getting involved in it for a while, it turns out I'm a pretty good, actually, I love soccer. I've always loved soccer and I loved hockey, but I'm actually learning to be a good basketball watching fan. Now, I love going to the games. Watching the games in real time are so fun. I'm still learning. You love baseball, Mary. See, you love baseball. Baseball to me is not as exciting as other certain sports, but that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. You can't watch it. You can't be a part of it. So let's look at our words here. I'm going to learn how to turn these. Let's look at the words here for our First Amendment rights, because it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, let's look at these words for you. First of all, who does it say cannot make a law? It says Congress. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That's why we have different religions in our country. We have Catholics, we have Jews, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we even have paganists, right? Because Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. There was a lot of kerfluffle about when places were not allowing churches to have services because of the COVID pandemic. They weren't doing it because they didn't want them to exercise their right to come together, because a lot of churches went online and had their services online and people were able to still gather. Or if people wanted to gather, they could gather in homes or places where, but they did not say you cannot practice your faith. See, that's the difference. But a lot of people took it as, you're trying to tread on me and make me feel like I can't worship. Okay, well, go gather and worship. But what started happening is a lot of congregations were hit with the COVID virus and several members in their churches were getting sick. What do you do? Right? So Congress is not making a law saying that you can't exercise your freedom of religion. It's not what's happening. Okay. or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. A lot of that's happening now because, unfortunately, there's a lot of disinformation shared out there by certain media outlets. And so people don't have the ability to discern the truth. What is the truth, right? Or the right of people to peaceably assemble or to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's why we have protests, people that come together and they want to bring their petitions to the government to let them know, hey, we feel like this is a problem. We need to do something about this. What happened on January 6th in storming the Capitol, that was not a peaceable assembly. That was a riot that, I mean, I can tell you as someone who has visited the Capitol, who has been as a tourist and seen the tourist sites and everything, I would never think of storming into those buildings and trying to take over rooms and tearing up stuff and throwing crap everywhere. I would never think of doing that. And when you look at the beauty of these buildings and the legacy of what our history is, I would never even think to do something like that, right? But some people allow their opinions to get fired up and cause all kinds of problems. So Congress is the one that makes no law. But businesses can say, no, I don't want you coming into my establishment and not wear a mask because we have staff that we're concerned about. We're trying to keep them healthy. We're doing all that we can to keep them healthy. There are some restaurants who they don't want people in wearing masks at all. And they have the right to do that as customers, right? We can choose whether or not to go to those places or not, because we have the freedom of choice. In the Bible, God even says, choose this day whom you will serve. He doesn't say, by me, you're going to worship me. You're going to only worship. He never comes at us like that. He says, I put before you this day the choice. Choose this day. Choose. Because he wants us to come to him of our own accord, right? I want you to come and be a part of my book club because you want to read this story and you want to learn more about it and you want to get with some great people who can encourage you and we can talk about fun stuff and share our ideas. That's why I do book club. But for me to say that my book club is the only book club in the world that you should ever attend, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? There's lots of great book clubs out there. I love being a part of Reese Witherspoon's book club. Good Morning America has a book club. Oprah has a book club. So many people have different book clubs. You have the beauty and the option to choose what you will read, what you will be a part of, what you'll participate in, right? That's the beauty of our world. And so that's why it's important that we understand why people ban things, why people ban books. So all of next week, you're going to be seeing me post about different books that have been banned, different things that have been banned. And I'm also going to post about some new books that are coming out. They're so new, they've not been banned. And hopefully you'll be able to make some smart choices about things that you want to read, that you want to see, that you want to participate in, because we have the ability to do that in a country where we live with a lot of freedom. Sometimes I believe we take for granted. So anyway, banned book weeks, you guys. That it's really a thing in our country that we dedicate an entire week to fighting this kind of censorship, to fight the suppression of ideas and stories that you want to share with others. That's huge, right? So I'll be sharing some information about how you can get involved, how you can learn more about Banned Book Week, and also about some great books that are coming out. New things, learning how to write, sharing our ideas and stories with each other. So if you would like to be a part of the book club, you can go right now to my website at roneharden.com/contact. I would love to have you join me. Click the option of Through the Book Club. Write me a little note, say, I can't wait to read Utopia. Grab a copy of it. In fact, I'm going to be sharing on my page different ways that you can get this even for free because it is in the public domain. So it's out there now. And you can get a copy of it for free. And my book club, guys, strap in because we are going to go on a ride through the book. and talk about all the neat ideas in there and share our ideas, our opinions on some of the concepts in here. Like, for example, Utopia is a land that has no currency. They have no money. So how do they shop? How do they buy and trade goods if they don't have any money? And if money was not an object in our world, would that change things in our world? We're going to be talking a lot about that. And why would Thomas More even think to write a story about a society that had no currency? Interesting. Well, we're going to be talking about all of those things and more. And some deep thoughts, some deep concepts that even are relevant to today that Thomas More was writing about over, 600 years ago now, that he's written about. So check it out. You'll definitely want to be a part of the book club. Or if you have a story that you've been wanting to share for a while, maybe you have a fun book idea like our friend Caroline Cusick had, and you want to share a little story. Maybe you've got something that you would like to do and you're not really sure if you're ready to publish on a bigger level. But what does publishing actually mean? I had a conversation this week with someone who said that self-publishing, in her opinion, was not really publishing. So what is publishing? I'll be doing an episode about that. And more importantly, we are going to start a new month. So next weekend will be the first weekend in October, my second favorite month of the year because it's my birthday year. And guys, I'm going to hit episode 400 of my show in the month of October. So we got so many things to celebrate. I hope you'll join me and come along for the ride. But again, if you want to stay in touch, if you want to contact me about maybe a story idea that you would like to develop, maybe you'd like to talk about some various ways that you could publish your work. Maybe you have a story ready to publish and you'd really like to take it to an agent or a publishing house. Let me know. I would love to help you get your story out there in the world and share it. So contact me right here at RoneHarden.com/contact. And also, if you want to catch this broadcast or catch up on any of my past broadcasts, you can go to my YouTube channel here at youtube.com/RoneHarden. It has been a pleasure to share this information with you freely on this platform because so far I've not been banned from social media because I know how to comport myself in such a way that I can share my content with you without getting in trouble. And that's fun. All right, guys, listen, thanks so much for listening. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you. Those of you that are watching replay, thanks so much for taking the time to check in with me. Those that have been live on the stream, thank you so much for watching. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here. I hope you get out there and make today a fantastic day because we have a beautiful weekend here in Dallas. I don't know about you, but the State Fair of Texas, woohoo, the State Fair started yesterday. The weather's been beautiful. I hope you get out there and enjoy today, wherever you are. And if the weather's a little, well, then curl up with a good book and enjoy a day of rest because we need to do that too and get ourselves ready for next week and the start of Rocktober. And guys, this is episode 395 of my show, and I'm so excited to hit that milestone of 400 shows. It's going to be so exciting. Anyway, thanks again. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you join me back here next weekend as we kick off a new month and enjoy all of the things that the fall season has for us. Okay? Take care. Have a great one. And I'll see you next time.